When it comes to indie game releases for old console hardware, the quality isn't always at the same level as the original library. But every so often we get something special. Something so well made that it's a time portal back to a bygone era of two-dimensional pixels, banging FM soundtracks, and glorious parallax scrolling. In July of 2024, a Kickstarter campaign was launched for the horizontal shoot-'em-up for the Sega Genesis called ZPF. The initial screens were promising and an early demo showed us something that was clearly inspired by the likes of such classics as Thunder Force and Lords of Thunder. The developers at ZPF team worked with Megacat Studios to get the game published, with a 2025 promised date of delivery. That campaign was funded very quickly, which is no real surprise considering how ravenous the Sega faithful can be for quality products. I recently received my backer copy of the game and put some time into it to see if it's worth your hard-earned money. I hope you guys enjoy my review of ZPF for the Sega Genesis. There is no real opening story to ZPF in the game itself. It begins with a title screen and an options menu, and once the game starts, you are thrown straight into the action. The instruction manual speaks of 3 different worlds under siege: future, fantasy, and alien, and you must use one of 3 unique fighters to help stop it. This is really the core of ZPF's gameplay, because these 3 fighters range in abilities quite a bit. The first option is Gladius, a ship that specializes in alien eradication. It has a spread shot and a shield-based melee attack that can hit in 360 degrees around it when it's upgraded. Gold is a ship adorned with futuristic technology, including a powerful laser wave and a melee attack that hammers enemies in front of you. Finally, there is the Knight, a mighty armor-clad warrior with a narrow focus shot of swords and a melee attack that is extremely powerful. These 3 fighters are not just here for variety, as each one of them play more efficiently when used in their home environment. And speaking of stages, there are 3 available in the beginning, and each of these can be played in any order you like. As you defeat these stages, each one opens up another area, giving you 6 core worlds to battle across before the final area opens up. For those of you that love secrets, this game has them. Every world has a key to discover that will help you unlock the final best ending. And yes, there are multiple endings here to see based on who you use, how you performed, and the secrets you uncover. There is also an in-game store that allows you to use the medals you collect as currency, and you can buy things like lives, continues, power-ups, and even lessen the amount of enemy weapon fire. Keep in mind that you can find some of these things, like extra lives and weapon power-ups, in the field during gameplay. The options menu allows you to adjust things before you begin. There you can choose the amount of opening medals you get for the store, the lives and bombs you begin with, and finally the amount of medals you lose upon a death. There are also sections for the button configuration and audio balance, should you require them. The graphics and visual style of ZPF is all over the place. It's a mix of organic, industrial, and cityscapes that is never short on variety. In fact, the stage backdrops change so frequently at times, you wish they had stayed around longer. Fans of parallax scrolling will probably love ZPF more than anyone, because there are layers galore to be appreciated. The developers overloaded nearly every area with copious amounts of detail, and it can easily distract you from all the action. Unfortunately, it can also camouflage the threats around you. I have died numerous times losing bullets and enemies on some of these stages. Sometimes it's a coloring issue, and sometimes you just lose things because there's way too much going on at once. I also felt that some of the color choices here needed revision. While a great bit of ZPF is very impressive, there are nooks and crannies that leave you wondering why the developers chose it. Some areas just seem like the developers were trying to flex their muscle and make the scene look as colorful as possible, without really considering the final outcome. Overall, I do feel these issues are in the minority, and ZPF is otherwise a very impressive game visually. It has the speed, sprite size, color, and parallax to compete with some of the best games on the Genesis, and that includes everything that came out officially during its retail run. It's not quite Thunder Force 4, but it's definitely in the running for the best on the Genesis. The sound and music of ZPF is extremely well done. You get a great range of low-key and aggressive tunes that really set a fantastic mood. I have a few examples for your listening pleasure. When I went into this review, I sat down and tried to find things that needed genuine critiquing. What did ZPF do that needed improvement? But you know, as far as gameplay goes, there isn't much here to complain about. The 3 different ships offer a solid variety, the opening 3 stages are fun, the next 3 stages you unlock are different enough to hold your interest, and finally, the last stage is a nice touch. Then there are the secrets and the bonus stages you can find that add even more to the mix. I was also impressed with the evolution of the play mechanics. Almost all of the footage you have seen so far has been from my very first play session, which I played as a traditional shooter. I would later discover that the ship you use on the various stages matters, and the melee attack can play a major role in taking care of some of the stronger enemies. It's a game that was well thought out and executed as far as keeping the replay value high. I was also impressed with the accessibility in ZPF. Many shoot-'em-ups have a nasty reputation for sky-high difficulty that turns off casual gamers. Worry not, because this one does ease you into the action. Not only can you lessen enemy bullets in the store, but the game never fills the screen so aggressively with enemies and weapon fire that you have to play it 50 times to learn to survive. The challenge is fair, paced well, and never takes more than a few play sessions to overcome, a rare thing for the genre. My complaints are few and ultimately small. I mentioned some of the color choices, and some of the backgrounds, they're just too busy. It's not hard to miss the big pink and blue bullets, but some of the smaller enemies and weapon fire can be completely covered up in some of these areas. Hell, I didn't even know some of the enemies were actual enemies until they killed me a few times. It would have also been nice to have had an opening cinematic explaining the story. I know most people don't give a crap about the narrative in a shooter, but 16-bit art and story panels were always nice to see, and I missed them here. Outside of those few talking points, ZPF is a hit on the Genesis. Most of these visuals are solid, the music is entertaining, and the gameplay full of appeal and replay value. The best compliment I can give it is that it looks like a game that may have released late in the console's life originally. If you are a backer of the ZPF project, chances are you have already received your game and are enjoying it as we speak. If you didn't partake, I'll drop a link in the description to the ZPF website so you can keep an eye open for availability. If you don't own a Genesis and are interested in playing, there is also a Steam version currently in development and should be releasing soon, so I'll link that page as well. There's a playable demo there too. It's been a great time for Genesis indie development the last few years. We are still getting some pretty impressive software, and once coupled with the outstanding homebrew development we see, it's almost like the console's been reborn. ZPF used the SGDK development tools, which is giving more and more software developers the incentive to serve this great community. Along with the other options like Scorpion, the future looks bright for the Sega faithful. I'm Sega Lord X. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you next time.